Welcome to Spectrum News within the week. I am Emedion James coming to you live from Uyo. Let's take a look at today's headlines. President Tinubu calls for reforms at United Nations to give Africa permanent representation on Security Council. Governor Moino empowers 476 people in Ikono in the federal constituency, backs digital inclusion and 2027 support for President Tinubu, Senate President Akpabio. Plus, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel to resume Gaza negotiations to end war and free hostages. We'll bring you details of the stories and more in just a moment. Many thanks for staying tuned. Our first report this afternoon is that President Bola Tinubu has called for reforms at the United Nations UN to give Africa permanent representation on the Security Council. Speaking at the plenary session on peace and stability during the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD 9, in Yokohama, Japan, Tinubu argued that Africa deserves 2 permanent seats with full privileges. The president said the continent also deserves additional non-permanent seats in line with the Ezuwini Consensus and Sirte Declaration. He also used the forum to laud the Nigerian armed forces for recent successes in the fight against insurgency and criminality, describing the momentum as a springboard for national development and stability. According to Tinubu, military victories alone cannot guarantee lasting peace without addressing poverty, inequality, and exclusion. Tinubu called for a new approach to peace building in Africa, pointing to peace agreements recently brokered in the Congo as examples of how mediation linked with economic investment can deliver results. In the meantime, the presidency has dismissed trending social media claims suggesting that Nigeria was poorly represented at the ongoing 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development in Yokohama, Japan. Reports say a viral video of an empty booth labeled Nigeria had sparked criticism of the country's presence at the Three Now Summit. But in a statement titled Nigeria's Participation at TICAD 9, focusing on strategic engagement, not trade expos, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, clarified that Nigeria did not attend TICAD 9 to showcase at the trade exhibition. According to Onanuga, the Nigerian delegation led by President Bola Tinubu is instead focusing on strategic bilateral and multilateral engagement designed to boost key sectors of the economy, including power, agriculture, and industry. He explained that Nigeria's participation at TICAD 9 is centered on high-level meetings with global corporations and institutions. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu within the week commissioned a 40,000 cubic meters liquefied petroleum gas LPG vessel christened MT Iyaloja, Lagos, in Ulsan, South Korea, to deepen LPG availability and affordability. The president at the commissioning said that Nigeria is poised to deliver clean and sustainable energy solutions not just in the country but also across Africa and beyond. represented by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Agric. The President lauded the partners for their technical excellence and unwavering dedication to expanding Africa's role in the global clean energy value chain. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu within the week has charged the Managing Director, Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC), Dr. Samuel Obokun, to continue to deliver impactful projects that touch lives, empower youth, and give hope to the communities. Tinubu, who was represented by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edong, gave the advice at Ogbogun's 50th anniversary launching of 2 books in Abuja. The President urged Ogbogun's and his team to continue to champion the transformation of NDDC. According to him, Niger Delta is more than a region. It is the economic heartbeat of the country and central to the energy and environmental future. Away from that, the federal government within the week lamented that the $10 billion spent annually by the country on food import, saying that there is a need for innovative financing solutions to boost agriculture and strengthen food security. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, made the call in Lagos. Represented by Special Advisor Ibrahim Al-Khali, Kyari decried the rising rate of food import and stressed the need for increased financing in agriculture to boost local production and export. She said Nigeria spends over $10 billion annually importing food such as wheat, rice, sugar, fish, and even tomato paste. He also added that agriculture contributes 35% to the nation's gross domestic product and employs 35% of Nigeria's workforce. In the meantime, the Federal Ministry of Youth Development has begun registration to train 100,000 youth in federal literacy, global trade, entrepreneurship, and investing. This was disclosed in a statement signed by the ministry's Director of Information and Public Relations, Omalara Esang. Esang said the initiative reflects the ministry's commitment to empowering Nigeria youth by transforming lives, improving employability, and promoting sustainable wealth creation. The ministry said the program will be delivered through a learning management system that integrates gamified learning, simulations, quizzes, and real-world trading scenarios. It added that in-person training sessions will also begin in Abuja, with plans to extend to other states. On security matters, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has vowed to address the welfare and other challenges facing soldiers. He said the Army Authority and the federal government are making efforts to make life better for the soldiers. Oluyede disclosed at the end of a 3-day visit to the headquarters of the Nigerian Army, 6th Division in Port Harcourt, where he inaugurated a number of projects, addressed troops, and interacted with critical stakeholders in the Niger Delta region. The Army boss insisted that the welfare of troops is of great interest to him, saying it was necessary to keep them in good frame of mind to discharge their assignment. On electoral matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has presented certificate of return to the senators-elect and members-elect of the House of Representatives who emerged victorious in the by-elections held on August the 16th. The certificates were handed over at the INEC headquarters in Abuja by different national commissioners. Among the recipients were Emmanuel Nwachukwu of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, elected senator for Anambra South, and Joseph Igbe of the All Progressive Congress who won the Edo Central Senatorial District. Also presented with certificates were 5 newly elected members of the House of Representatives, and they include Barrister Omasade Igbimedion of the APC, who won in the Ovie Northeast and Ovie Southwest Federal Constituency of Edo State, Mokta Kaki of the APC, representing Babura and Kaki Federal Constituency of Jigawa State, Fidelix Bagudu of APC, elected for the Shikung and Kajuru Federal Constituency of Kaduna State, Adesola Ayola Elegbeji of the APC, who emerged from the Ikena and Shagamu and Remo North Federal Constituency of Ogun State, and Fola Oyekunle of the People's Democratic Party, representing Ibadan North Federal Constituency of Oyo State. In a separate development, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, within the week urged the federal government to delist the union from the Tertiary Institution Staff Support Fund, while calling on its members to gear up for fresh protests over unresolved demands. The union described its inclusion in the federal government loan scheme as a ploy by the government to conscript it as a guarantor of loans it knows nothing about. This was contained in a communique issued at the end of ASU's National Executive Council meeting held at the Usmanu Danfodio University, Sokoto, and signed by its president, Christopher Piwuna. ASU maintained that rather than floating loan schemes, the federal government should release the withheld 3.5-month salaries of its members, which it said would be of more value to them. Recall that the federal government, through the Minister of State for Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, last week, launched the TISSF, a 0% interest loan scheme for academic and non-academic staff of tertiary institutions to assess up to 10 million naira. Let's move now to Akwa Ibom, where Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino has commended the Nigerian Army for their unwavering commitment to maintaining peace and security in the state. The governor, who spoke when he received the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, and his entourage on a courtesy visit, highlighted the state recognition of the Army's crucial role in ensuring the safety and well-being of Akwa Ibom citizens. Governor Eno, who also acknowledged the existing relationship between the Army and Akwa Ibom State, expressed gratitude for the collaboration and assured the Army Chief that the state government would visit the Ibawa barracks in Abak local government area to explore ways to further support the Army.
We want to appreciate the Nigerian Army for the work they do, but most particularly for the collaboration that exists between the Nigerian Army in Akwa Ibom under the leadership of the Commander 2 Brigade. We just want to thank you for the civil military relationship that has been built amongst our people. We have noted in a very short discussion your request for us to intervene in the Ibawa barracks, and I've assured you that when the Commissioner for Internal Security returns, he will pay a visit to the barracks and will see areas we can support the Nigerian Army so that we continue to have good accommodation for our people. We're already doing some intervention in the headquarters of the 2 Brigade in Biokporo, and we'll continue to do that. I've also made a reminder, and you have promised to graciously grant us an outpost. We need an intervention in our own area. We need that intervention because it's critical for us. A lot of That's a literal area, and a lot of the kidnapping takes place and go through there. And we believe that having that will help reinforce our security arrangements.
Earlier, the Chief of Army Staff, who had expressed the Nigerian Army's commitment to protecting lives and property, noted that he was in a desert, hence the need to lead a delegation to pay homage to the governor.
So I'm just simply here this morning to pay homage to your person and to the good people of Akwa Ibom State. Well, I've been part of this state, in the past because I was the General Officer commanding 6th Division, so I know the state very well, and I know His Excellency in person. So, coming to Akwa Ibom State this morning is just to pay homage to him and thank him for his support generally. And I'm always very quick to tell all Nigerians that Nigerian Army belongs to all Nigerians. And that goes with security generally. It's everybody's business. So, having known His Excellency, I'm not surprised with the kind of support he's giving to the Army, and I'm sure he's still going to give us more. Akwa Ibom State is one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria. Well, that's to tell you that all security agencies are getting the right support from the government. Because once the agencies are supported in the right manner, you expect some level of peace in such a place. So, Your Excellency, I thank you for your support, and I thank the generality of the Akwa Ibomites for being very homely, very good people to our people. And I hope going forward we'll have more of that.
Government House correspondent Jane Owa reports that while acknowledging the state's peaceful atmosphere and the governor's unwavering support to the army boss commended the governor for his contributions to maintaining peace and security in the state, describing Akwa Ibom as one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria. In the meantime, in a bid to combat the rising menace of illegal mining in the state, particularly along the state's coastlines, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino has inaugurated a strategic and operational committee with a strong mandate to tackle the rise of illegal mining issue in the state. Speaking during the inauguration of the committee at the State ESCO Chambers, Government House Uyo, the governor stressed that the committee's tasks include profiling miners in the state, monitoring their activities, and ensuring compliance with the law.
Please, this is not an academic committee. It is an operational committee. Over the years, we are beginning to notice the rise of illegal mining activities in the state, particularly across our coastal line. And so we believe that there is a need to check this. And the Ministry of Environment cannot do it alone. They will need the collaboration of all of us, because the trucks that carry these things from the ministry, we need to work together, the local governments, all of these people are within your territories. And we need to also follow it up with the backing of the law. So we've tried to enlarge this committee. If we are not careful to checkmate this, there is so much influx of people from other regions into the state. And God forbid we ignore this and we build a future that will not be safe for the state. So that's why we're taking it seriously. We want to know who are the miners in the state, what's their profile. We need to know the type of minerals they are looking for. Where and how do they pay taxes, and to who?
Governor No also directed the local government chairman to take charge of their areas and report any illegal mining activities to the state government as they work collaboratively to identify and prosecute offenders immediately. The state chief executive also directed the renovation of lands illegally bought without the government's knowledge in order to bring an end to the hazardous activities of illegal miners in the state and restore peace and security to the affected areas.
Let me take time now to sound a note of warning. If I find anyone illegally getting involved in encouraging illegal mining in our state, I will not mind whatever office the person occupies. We will withdraw their certificate. Local government chairmen, take charge of your local government. Mining is not a traditional institutional thing. Let us get that very clear. The local government chairman is the chief executive officer of the local government. And so please do not tolerate those things. Bring it up early to our attention and let us address it. Let us stay within the boundaries that the law has allowed us. I stand here today to inaugurate this state committee to combat illegal mining in our state. In the name of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Government House correspondent Jane Owa reports that the committee members include the Commissioner, Ministry of Environment, Commissioner, Ministry of Finance, Commissioner, Ministry of Internal Security, Commissioner, Ministry of Justice and Attorney General, Commissioner, Ministry of Transport, the State Director Security Service, State Commissioner of Police, Honorary Special Advisor to the Governor on Security, Chairman of Algon and the Chairman of 15 local government areas representing the coastal areas in the state, amongst others. Meanwhile, the Akwa Ibom State Executive Council approved a series of landmark resolutions aimed at advancing infrastructure, healthcare, tourism, sport, transportation and energy development in the state. The meeting was presided over by Governor Moino at the Executive Council Chambers, Government House, Uyo. In his opening remarks, the governor emphasized the importance of teamwork, urging them to leverage one another's strength in a collective drive to actualize the Arise agenda for the overall development of the state. Among key resolutions, the Council approved the award of 357 projects across ministries, departments and agencies to qualified youth and companies through the State Procurement Portal, urging beneficiaries to maximize the opportunity for the good of the people. Council also ratified the agreement and contract award for the Ibom International Hospital project, a proposed 350-bed world-class medical facility handed over the site to contractors. On infrastructure, ESCO reviewed 771 kilometers of road projects across the 31 local government areas, directing the Commissioner for Works and Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning to align identified needs with the 2026 budget to ensure widespread coverage.
The Executive Council approved the award of 357 projects across various MDAs to qualified youths and companies pre-qualified through the State Procurement Portal. The Governor and Council urged youths in the state and businesses to take advantage of these opportunities for the benefit of the people. Following the consideration of the status report from the Ministry of Health on the Ibom International Hospital project, a 350-bed first-class medical facility, the Executive Council ratified the agreement with the construction company handling the project, an award of contracts for the project, and also approved the formal handover of the site to the contractors for work to commence. Council reviewed a total of 771 kilometers of road projects presented across the 31 local government areas. The Honorable Commissioner for Works, in collaboration with the Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning, were directed to align the road projects needs identified during the town square meetings in the various federal constituencies with available budgetary envelopes for equitable coverage in the entire state.
To boost the power sector, the Council approved plans to host a power summit as part of efforts to accelerate reliable and affordable electricity delivery in the state and in the area of tourism. The Council also inaugurated an inter-ministerial delivery committee to drive preparations for the forthcoming tourism summit with Governor Moino as chairman. The move, supported by presentation from the Tony Blair Institute, is part of the Destination Akwa Ibom marketing plan.
In a determined effort to consolidate the state's power sector development drive, the Executive Council reviewed the roadmap for the implementation of the Sustainable Energy Development Program of the state and approved the hosting of the Power Summit to anchor and accelerate the delivery of reliable and affordable electricity in the state. In a determined effort to consolidate the state's power sector development drive, the Executive Council reviewed the roadmap for the implementation of the Sustainable Energy Development Program of the state and approved the hosting of the Power Summit to anchor and accelerate the delivery of reliable and affordable electricity in the state. In a determined effort to consolidate the state's power sector development drive, the Executive Council reviewed the roadmap for the implementation of the Sustainable Energy Development Program of the state and approved the hosting of the Power Summit to anchor and accelerate the delivery of reliable and affordable electricity in the state. In a determined effort to consolidate the state's power sector development drive, the Executive Council reviewed the roadmap for the implementation of the Sustainable Energy Development Program of the state and approved the hosting of the Power Summit to anchor and accelerate the delivery of reliable and affordable electricity in the state. In a determined effort to consolidate the state's power sector development drive, the Executive Council reviewed the roadmap for the implementation of the Sustainable Energy Development Program of the state and approved the hosting of the Power Summit to anchor and accelerate the delivery of reliable and affordable electricity in the state. In a determined effort to consolidate the state's power sector development drive, the Executive Council reviewed the roadmap for the implementation of the Sustainable Energy Development Program of the state and approved the hosting of the Power Summit to anchor and accelerate the delivery of.
As part of youth and sport development, ESCO approved the purchase of equipment for 30 different sports ahead of the Akwa Ibom Sport Festival, which kicks off on Monday, September 8, 2025, with 18 sporting events scheduled. On transportation, Council received a progress report on the Oron Maritime Terminal and directed acceleration of works to resume full maritime services and strengthen the Blue Economic Corridor. It further approved an expansion of the compressed natural gas CNG city buses fleet from 20 to 50 to ensure rotational coverage of all 31 local government areas. The Council also took note of the ongoing continuous voter registration exercise by INEC and urged mobilization of citizens for active participation. Still in Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino has empowered 476 persons in Ikono in the federal constituency with over 239 million naira as farming, trading and equipment grant. The checks for the empowerment packages were presented to beneficiaries at the town square meeting for the federal constituency held at Ibiakun Tokpo. In his remarks, the governor noted that the beneficiaries were qualified citizens of the federal constituency who had registered through the Arise Youth Employment Portal and were duly selected. He called on the people to embrace the digital method of getting jobs, empowerment and other government contracts stressing that it was imperative to do things differently to provide a level playing field for everyone in order to accommodate those who have no one to recommend them. The governor noted that his administration was touching lives and raising men and women who had the requisite capacity and are willing to work and have registered on the Arrives portal in Uyo. He also explained the reasons for his people-centric governor disposition. Governor now said he became a governor by the grace of God and by the instrumentality of Deacon Udom Emmanuel, and as such, he must allow that same grace to reach other people who do not know anybody. He said he had received a neat document and would accommodate as many as possible depending on the availability of funds.
And we are going to review it. I want to promise you that in next year's budget, by the grace of God, every local government will have an item in the budget. We'll look at it, and to be honest, based on the availability of funds, because everything is about funding. We are empowering today in Ikonini 476 of you with a total sum of 239 million naira, 150,000. Let me address our young people, and I'd like to speak to young people of Akwa Ibom. We have a portal. Don't let anybody deceive you. Don't listen to what the people are telling you. If you don't register on the portal, nothing for you. I became a governor by the grace of God, by the instrumentality of the Udom Gabriel Emmanuel, and I did not know anybody. If we were looking for people to be governor in this state, I would not have chosen myself. But it is the grace of God that brought me. Now, having been brought by the grace of God, what does that mean? I must allow that grace to reach other people who know nobody. You must be able to apply without knowing the governor, without knowing the deputy governor, without knowing the secretary of government, and then you get a job. That is my mission.
Following a request by stakeholders in the area, the governor approved immediate interventions in the state colleges of science and technology and directed the Commissioner for Education to visit the institution to ascertain the things needed to facilitate accreditation for the programs of the school. He further said the college could either be maintained as a college of science and technology or converted into a campus of the Akwa Ibom State University based on their preference.
On the Akwa Ibom College of Science and Technology, I won't wait for that needs assessment. I'm asking the Commissioner for Education to proceed to that college and make sure they get all the needs. Give me a full report on what they need to get their accreditation. You have to decide between leaving the campus as a College of Science and Technology, or you want a campus of Akwa Ibom State University to come there. I will leave that to the elders. You go and decide. There are advantages and there are disadvantages.
In the separate remarks, local government chairman of Ikono and Inni commissioners for agriculture and commissioner for trade and investment, Dr. Ofiongofo and Dr. Ubong Inyang, respectively former House of Representative member Professor Inni Udoka and Sir S. U. Akban, commended the governor for the different impactful strides in the constituency. Presenting a neat document, Senator Aloysius Etok also appreciated the governor for his leadership strides in the state and pledged their continuous support beyond 2025. Government House correspondent Jen Uwa reports the high point of the event were the award of a chieftaincy title of Ete Iberedim on by the governor by the traditional rulers of the constituency, as well as a motion moved by Emmanuel Ukbongudo and seconded by Lawrence Udoide. To support the governor, Pastor Umoino, President Tinubu and Senator Goswill in the 2027 elections. Still to come in the news. FG Cardoso pledged to strengthen fiscal monetary coordination. Stay tuned for details of this in just a moment. Many thanks for staying tuned. We move now to Africa, where former Malian civilian Prime Minister Choguel Manga has been charged with embezzlement of public funds. Lawyer Cheikh Konara announced this within the week. Mangai was remanded in custody following a hearing before the country's Supreme Court. Reports say no date has been fixed for his set trial. Manga served as Mali's civilian head of government from June 2021, but was dismissed in November 2024 after he publicly criticized the junta in power. Still in Africa, Sudan's health ministry has reported 1,575 new cholera infections and 22 deaths, bringing the total confirmed cases to over 101,000, with 2,515 lives lost since the outbreak officially recorded in August 2024. The epidemic has now spread to all 18 states of the country, a division in a country already overwhelmed by war. Reports say since April 2023, Sudan has been engulfed in violent conflicts between the Sudanese military and the Rapid Support Forces. According to the United Nations, more than 12. On the foreign scene, the sun beat down on the southern border of Israel as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stood before a line of soldiers, his voice firm against the hum of tension still thick in the air. For the first time, only on its own terms. The proposal, crafted by Egypt and Qatar and accepted by Hamas just days earlier, was being hailed internationally as a glimmer of hope. But Netanyahu was clear Israel's condition had not changed.
I arrived today near the border with Gaza to approve the plans that the Israeli army presented to me and the Minister of Defense for taking over Gaza City and defeating Hamas. I greatly appreciate the presence of the reserve soldiers and of course the regular army for this vital goal, at the sanctions for the release of all our hostages and an end to the war on terms acceptable to Israel. I arrived today near the border with Gaza to approve the plans that the Israeli army presented to me and the Minister of Defense for taking over Gaza City and defeating Hamas. I greatly appreciate the presence of the reserve soldiers and of course the regular army for this vital goal. At the same time, I have issued instructions to begin immediate negotiations.
Behind the scenes, Israeli officials confirmed that negotiators would be dispatched as soon as a venue was agreed upon. The diplomatic wheels were slowly grinding into motion, but the tone from the top remained combative. At the heart of Netanyahu's stance is a controversial but unwavering military objective, the full capture of Gaza City. Despite increasing pressure from key allies to scale back military ambitions, the Israeli Security Cabinet, chaired by Netanyahu, had only this month approved plans to press forward. According to Israeli estimate, 50 hostages remain in Gaza, taken during the surprise attacks of October 2023. Of those, only about 20 are believed to be alive. Their fate remains one of the most painful unresolved chapters in this prolonged war and bloody conflict. In the meantime, an appeal court has thrown out a $500 million penalty that President Donald Trump was ordered to pay in a New York civil fraud trial last year. Judge Arthur N. Goron had ordered Trump to pay the fee for massively inflating the value of Trump's organization properties in order to secure favorable loans. In a ruling, judges on the New York Supreme Court Appellate Division stated that while Trump was liable for the fraud, the fine of nearly $500 million was excessive and likely violated legal protection against severe punishment. Meanwhile, in a post on his social media site, Truth Social, Trump claimed that the decision was a total victory. On our business news, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, and the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Dr. Olayemi Cardoso, have pledged to strengthen coordination between fiscal and monetary authorities to consolidate Nigeria's economic stability. The commitments followed a strategic meeting held yesterday at the CBN headquarters in Abuja and attended by the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Dr. Zak Adedeji. According to a statement issued by the Director of Information and Public Relations at the Ministry of Finance, Mohammed Manga, the high-level talks focus on sustaining macroeconomic stability, boosting investors' confidence, and unlocking private sector growth. Edun reaffirmed that aligning fiscal and monetary policies was central to President Bola Tinubu's reform program. The statement added that the meeting was designed to send a strong signal of the government's determination to work towards a more stable and prosperous economic future for all Nigerians. And in health, the federal government has disbursed nearly 50 billion naira directly to primary health centers (PHCS) across the country through the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, made the announcement in a post on his official X handle. Pate added that the administration of President Bola Tinubu has also released over 20 million naira for the rehabilitation and upgrade of 4,365 primary health centers across the 19 northern states and federation. Still to come in the news. South Africa names preliminary squad for Nigeria's clash in 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. Stay tuned for details of this in just a moment. Many thanks for staying tuned. We move now to sports where Bafana head coach Hugo Bruce has announced that his preliminary squad for South Africa's 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Lesotho and Nigeria. Bruce named 48 players in the preliminary squad, which was posted on the official X account of the South African Football Association (SAFA). Top on the list are goalkeeper. Top on the squad are Rowan Williams, midfielder Tebono Mokana, Evidence Mbakopa, and Milali Mbayabela. Nigeria-born defender Ime Okon, who plays for German club Hanover, was also included in the squad alongside Thiaban Zingwa. Bruce is expected to trim the list before his team open camps for both games next weekend. Meanwhile, Bafana will travel to Lesotho to face them at the Free State Stadium, Bloemfontein, on Friday, September 5th. They will then host the Super Eagles 4 days later at the Toyota Stadium, Bloemfontein. Still in sport, Leeds completed a loan move from Aston Villa to Italian club Roma. The Jamaica winger has joined the Italian side for the 2025 to 2026 season, and the deal includes an option to buy. The 28-year-old made a £25 million move to Villa from German club Bayer Leverkusen in 2021 and went on to score 22 goals in 144 appearances. Bailey claimed a career-high 14 goals in 52 games in the all-competition in 2023 to 2024 season, but scored just twice in 38 games just last year, and he also signed a new contract with Villa in February 2024 that runs until 2027. Also in sports, Liverpool talisman Mohamed Salah has become the first Premier League player to win the Professional Footballer Association PFA Footballer of the Year. Salah now stands ahead of the two-time winner Gareth Bale, Thierry Henry and Cristiano Ronaldo. Earlier in the year, he took home the Footballer of the Year award. The Egyptian winger scored 29 goals and provided 19 assists as the Red. On entertainment news, Nigerian singer Gabriel Oche, also known as Terry G, has accused American music magazines Billboard of robbing him by snubbing his songs in its recently released Top 50 Best Afrobeat Songs of the all-time list. Reports say African Queen by Two-Face topped the list curated staff. Timaya Mama, Weird MCs, Ijoyas and Yawuze by Olumenten also made the cut. However, Terry G's hit song, including Akpako Master, Free Madness, Run Mad and others, were conspicuously missing from the list. Reacting to a post by music monitoring platform Chart Data, Terry G claimed that he was robbed. And last in the news at this hour, Grammy-winning Nigerian singer Burna Boy has become the African artist with the most entries on the US Billboard Hot 100 chart. His collaborative hit with American rapper Gunna WGFT from the rapper's new album The Last One debuted at number 96 on this week's Hot 100 chart, bringing Burna Boy's total entries to 7. The Last hitmaker is also the first African artist to debut a song on the Billboard Hot 100 chart in 5 consecutive years. And that's all we have for you at this time. To ensure to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website at spectrumtvlive.ng. I am Emedion James and you've been watching Spectrum News within the week. Do have a lovely weekend. Thank you for watching.